Hi, it's Lydia, and I'm here to share with you week 15 journal entry. This is an exhibition, kind of an exploration, to show you around my journal, things that have gone down, where you can find things, my experiences. And I want to show you, I just opened up the Facebook page I was using, and I saw something really interesting, so I want to show you that as well. If you have not looked at my meta literacy journal at all through this semester, I chose to use a Google site to be my host platform. And I've been hanging out in the We Are Teachers Helpline Facebook group. This is a private Facebook group. You can easily join if you are a teacher. It'll ask you if you've ever joined any other Facebook group. It'll usually ask you a couple questions that are decided by the administrators, and then they pop you in. This has been and I was a member of this space previously before this project, which I know may not necessarily have been the exact guidelines, but I really wanted to look at this deeper because I feel like I scroll by posts from there, but I don't typically pay attention to them as deep as I probably should, especially as a teacher, because it is very important that we are having common experience, to know that we're having common experiences and that we're usually not the only ones in a boat. Real quick, I want to show you the Facebook page if you have not been to it before. But what I noticed today when I opened it up, this little pop-up came up and it says, "Teacher Mate, this group's AI is here to help." And I thought this was interesting because we do talk about AI a lot in this class. AI is part of meta literacy, and even Facebook is part of Meta, the company, I guess, but it's just ironic, I guess. So apparently this can now give you instant answers and suggestions for post content and other things, and it can help you find relevant group info and access on your eligible mode. You can access this both I'm on a desktop right now, but you can do this on a mobile device, it looks like. And interesting enough, there's a little disclaimer here that says some results may be inaccurate or inappropriate. And I would be curious to know, I feel that inappropriate has multiple meanings. Are they talking inappropriate as in like non-applicable, or inappropriate as in graphic? Just as out of curiosity. This group, I think I talked about the original size of the group. 62,000 people. So it's about the same. So this is a 62,000.4 group of people from all across the United States. There might be some international folks in here, not totally sure, but this is that little AI enabled thing too that I just noticed, and it brings up that pop-up that we just talked about. One of the features you'll see me talk about a lot in this group is the anonymous post and why I feel that's important, but detrimental, all of that. And there are a lot of positive things going on right now. It's definitely a little bit quieter right now because a lot of places, myself included, are on spring break. You do see a lot of common questions being asked on here. Like, for example, here's someone asking about their master's program. Like, what did you get your master's in? And a lot of times people will be like, what state are you in? Check your contract, very, like, there's some kind of answers that you can always expect to post around here. But cool things like this, like, what is your favorite font to use? People asking about how other people deal with child behavior. These are typically the things that are in anonymous, whereas you see, like, this very, like, chill, controversial post is someone's real name. I am trying to respect the group's privacy. I am trying to make sure that I don't show you anything that might reveal someone's name if they don't want to be revealed. Somebody who, this is definitely a rant space, but sometimes as teachers you just need to do that. I've used this in the past. I went through an experience with a coworker last year, and I just needed the experience to leave my body, and I did post anonymously here. Some people were really nice, some people were not, but I didn't care because I just needed other people to hear me and tell me that I was not the only person. Again, lots of anonymous. This group has moved very anonymous. Some people like it, some people don't. our girl Lisa again. She was the one who just asked about fonts. So you do see some common names come up sometimes. You start to know people. Miss Lisa again. Oh, Lisa says I live in Asia. Okay, so here is proof that we do have someone international in this group. She's been asking a lot of questions lately. You can filter this to show you things in like a certain order. But this is, I think, just the general order right now. It might be popularity. Back from spring break, I know this is a lot for people, like, I'm not sure what this points thing is. I've never seen that before. All-star contributor. Okay, so these are people who have contributed to the group a lot versus a little bit. So this is just a feel-good post about people being like, hey, we're almost there. But, so this is the first time that you're seeing the group. That kind of gives you an idea of what is going on. But more specifically for my journal, if you look at the top, I have our 5 tabs available to you. For my explain journal, I did choose a Word doc. Dr. Kennedy and I did discuss this, that going forward I would not do something like this again. I was trying to explore different options, but she asked that I do not just write my thoughts and feelings like a traditional almost pen and paper journal, which I understand and respect, but this was just my original evaluation of the group, sharing everything. I shared these are the rules of the group, which I think are important when you're thinking about how you engage in a space. My Engage Week, I took you on a tour. I showed some specific posts from the helplines. This was the first time that you got to look at the Facebook page internally. My Experiment Week, I pulled some things from posts, like screenshots, and lined them up so you could see and talked over them. I think that this was really great. There were some, I was kind of annoyed this week by some of the posts that were coming up and like that were the huge discussion ones. Like this one, for example, there are 280 comments, and I just, like, this was one of those things I'm like, we didn't need to. I think that people sometimes forget how, I hate to say stupid, because there is no stupid question, right? Someone has to ask it, but sometimes inside thoughts, right? We need to keep our thoughts inside, and I think behind the keyboard, some people forget that. So somebody felt the need to complain about getting a lollipop as a gift from an administrator, claiming that they were calling them dum-dums because that was the brand of lollipop they bought. And, calling them like stupid or suckers, whatever you can read the post. And 280 people chimed in on that. And I just don't think that that was something that is what the helpline is for. And I have a feeling that it probably deters some people away from posting and asking legitimate questions. My Evaluate Week, I actually got really emotional in this one. There had been a post from a teacher. I actually wasn't able to find it to share it. I had wanted to show you the post, but it had been taken down. I assume for, privacy and kind of like the controversy that it caused. There was a teacher asking about an opinion on a student they were concerned about who was potentially being abused by a parent. And I get emotional thinking about this now because it still kind of frightens me a little bit. There was a significant amount of people that were like, nope, that's fine. Like, that's not abuse. Like, I would never worry about something like that. And I was like, no, I'd be very concerned. Like, concerned enough that I would at least share it with a counselor or another body in my building to potentially run it up the ladder to CPS. There were some people saying, like, oh, if you report this to CPS, like, this is the reason that other children don't get the actual help they need from CPS because they're wasting their time on cases like this. And I just really think that it was proof that people think they can say anything on the internet. And that I talked a lot about the anonymous posting thing in here too, that people think that no one will follow up with them because if they post something anonymous that you're kind of untouchable, that it doesn't matter what you're saying. And I don't agree with that. I think that being meta literate is owning up to your own words, owning up to your own things that you are saying. And if you're choosing to say that and that's what you want to put on the internet, then you need to post your name with that. You need to be responsible for your words. Some people will argue, well, I don't want my coworkers to see and think differently of me. I don't want my boss to see and think different of me. Then you might need to think about what you're saying or evaluate your response. That is my evaluation of that. And my wisdom week, it was kind of like a happy send-off. I just wanted to share some things that I had wrapped up and really enjoyed. I liked this experience. I think it was cool. I would definitely want to do it with a different page again in my future. Something that maybe I don't know anything about or don't know enough about. I know some of my colleagues were doing, I believe someone did like a Dungeons and Dragons one, or one of the like fantasy games. I don't know all of them. I don't know anything about that, and I think it would be cool to have done one from that standpoint, just to see what I can learn from the groups and from the talking. I'm learning better that I like talking openly and freely in this kind of journalized platform. I think that I have much more cohesive thoughts and can open my thoughts better than I think you typically would writing, because I feel that we spend a lot of time worried about like the grammatical aspect of writing. So overall, this is a really fun assignment, and I think it's a cool way to get you thinking about the things that you read in social media and open online forums and posts, because we often probably don't transfer our skills, like our scholarly skills, to reading those. We don't think, it's not a journal article, so I'm not reading it as critically, but I think that that's exactly where we should be applying those skills and all of that knowledge. So I'm thankful for doing this, and I hope that you can learn something from my journal, and I hope to learn something from yours too.